So I've been learning Spanish now for 26 years. And over the 26 years, what I've seen is this, that everybody, including me, has been looking for the hack, for the shortcut, for the way to learn Spanish faster than what it appears to be taking. I've seen every kind of advert promising things that were incredible. Something like Spanish in 6 months, okay, super, hey, not bad, to Spanish in a weekend. I've seen that, Spanish in a weekend. What I've discovered is that if we were just to produce content for beginners, our business would do so much better. Why? Because there are an awful lot more beginners than they are intermediate, and there are an awful lot more intermediate than they are advanced. Why? It's just the way that it works. When you're learning a language, you start off with bags of enthusiasm, and then as you go on, you discover that it's hard. And so there's a tremendous fallout from the beginners. Our beginners classes used to be, in the UK, we would have 30, 35 people. And then by the end of that term, there would be, if we were lucky, there would be about 30% of the class left. And what would happen is, of that class, by the time that we got to advanced, there might be 1 or 2 people from that class that would make it to advanced. Why? Because Spanish, like any language, if you're learning it as a second language, it's not easy. And it makes me kind of sometimes sad, sometimes a little bit sort of upset when I see people making promises about Spanish that I know aren't true. When I see people say things like this, you don't need to learn the subjunctive. Don't bother learning this. And there's always this element that attracts people, which is, you don't need this to be able to speak Spanish. I fell into that trap when I was in Mexico. My production manager in the factory said, "You don't need vosotros. We don't use vosotros here. We just use ustedes." And I went, "Oh, fantastic." So I didn't bother learning vosotros. And then I happened to marry a lady from Spain and I had to relearn it. But why do we do that? Why do we fall for the trick of people saying to us, you don't need that? Why? Because it's hard. And if we can lose a chunk of what we have to learn, it's like, wow, that's total relief. That's great. I'd love to do that. You don't need the subjunctive. Fantastic. I'll not bother with that. And it's the biggest lie ever. It's like me saying, oh, you want a car? Well, you don't need windscreen wipers really, as long as it doesn't rain. You go, great, I'll take the windscreen wipers off. Well, actually, you don't need an engine really, unless you want to go somewhere. You go, great, I'll take the engine out as well. You don't even need wheels if you don't really want to go anywhere. Oh, I'll take the wheels off as well. And what you end up with is a poor representation of what it was that you wanted, which was the full Spanish language. What I've learned over the years is that there aren't any shortcuts. Yes, there are ways of making your Spanish journey much faster. Absolutely. There are things that you can do that can really speed up the pace of your learning, but they're not shortcuts. They're hard cuts. You see, a shortcut implies that it's easy, that you're going to get there quicker and you're going to miss out some of the route. No. There are things that you can do that can help you speed through the route, but the route is the route. You can't change the road. And unfortunately, lots and lots of people have made a business out of telling you that they've got a different road. They've got a different route. I had a student who came to me and said, my teachers in this certain area, my teachers have said that you really don't need to learn the subjunctive at the level that you're at. And she's intermediate. You don't need to learn the subjunctive. That's probably the worst advice that I've ever heard given from a teacher to a student. You don't need, at intermediate, you don't need the subjunctive. It's like saying to a child, for the moment, you don't need to have any vowels. You just need to have consonants. It's like, what are you talking about? The subjunctive is found in beginner sentences. When you say to somebody, que tengas un buen día, que tengas un buen día, what's advanced about that sentence? Or you say, espero que venga el autobús a tiempo. I hope the bus comes on time. What is advanced about that? What's intermediate about that? Nothing. It's a beginner sentence, and yet it needs a subjunctive. So why do people say that? Why do they say you don't need to learn the subjunctive? For two reasons. One, if they're a teacher, they don't know how to teach it, and it scares them, so it's much easier to say, don't bother, just leave it. And two, they think that they are doing you a favour. They think that they're helping you, when in fact, anybody, and I say this now after my 26 years of learning Spanish, if somebody tells you that you don't need to learn a fundamental part of Spanish, they are lying. Don't believe them. In today's world now, we've got lots and lots of different ways of learning. And the issue that we've got is that people assume that they're going to use AI. They assume that it's going to be faster. People assume that if they take an app and they use that app every day, then it's going to be easier. Then they don't need to do anything else. And all of that is just great marketing and a load of rubbish. The way that you learn a language is through dogged, repetitive work, blood, sweat and tears. That's how you learn a language. But I don't want to make it sound like it's awful. Learning a language is the most beautiful thing. One of the most beautiful things that you can do in your life. It opens up so many doors to so many things, to so many different experiences. It's beautiful. But don't think that it's easy. And don't believe it when people tell you that it's easy. And don't think for a moment that modern technology can help you to learn Spanish better than what I would call the basics. All of new technology is fantastic. It can really, really help to augment your learning. But there are basics that you must not jump over, that you must not skirt around. What are the basics? The basics are you've got to learn grammar. And any teacher that tells you you don't need to learn grammar is telling you a lie. They are lying to you.